Are you ready for your punishment, slave?
I sometimes scream out, no. When really I mean yes.
Yes, yes!
And this is why we have the safe word. Until we hear the safe word, we will not stop.
She's not a Christian!
Well, here we are on a sunny afternoon here in California, Hollywood. Is this West Hollywood or North Hollywood?
This is straight Hollywood, son.
This is straight Hollywood. We are at Sam Tripoli's house here
Thank you.
in the Shire. It's kind of a bit of a labyrinth to get to your front door.
It is. It's private, yet not that private at all. It's a really weird thing. It's a gated community, which everybody in the world seems to know how to get through the gate.
Your name came up twice before I met you, and one was Russell Peters.
Yes.
And Derek Harvey.
I have heard your name since I started doing comedy. Well, let me just change that. When I moved out to Los Angeles, am I too loud?
Yeah.
When I moved out to L.A., I heard about your name. I heard your name.
Uh-huh.
And then people were always like, we should all work together.
Yeah. And we did, and we have, and we continue to.
And where did we meet?
Candor.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was
Which
it.
was a ton of fun.
That was great. Free booze and some scratch and a gig.
I tried to go back and find that stage after that whole group had left and somebody else moved in. They just had destroyed the stage.
That was a perfect.
Little studio.
Yeah, and there was not a bad seat in the house. So it was so good that people were sitting on the stage. Oh, they had to write a letter of apology on my behalf because I called some girl fat.
They shouldn't be in comedy, and that's maybe why they're no longer there.
I think it's the proof's in the pudding, I guess.
You know, I was recording something last night for...
Do you have people that want to apologize on your behalf? I don't think that's right.
I won't. I just...
No, but they'll write, we sent a letter to them as an apology and said that you said it. And I go, why am I sorry? I didn't do anything wrong.
The one thing you can't do is ever apologize. Once you apologize, you're just dead in the water.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but the people who beg for forgiveness never come back the same. This country constantly moves on. This culture constantly moves on. They won't stay on one thing too long.
Yes.
Except for the Holocaust. That seems to be the only thing.
Easily distracted, especially North American culture in general. It's like geared around the mechanics of television and how it moves, how they would look at entertainment. So
there will be an incident. It will be all over the news. And the next 2 days later, it will be gone. But it's still going on.
Oh, yeah.
People act like it's been solved.
Yeah.
Like the problem is no longer there. No, it's still there.
I think news stories are interjected to news to distract people from other things.
100%.
All these tabloid things you'll be watching some horrific news show and then they'll interject with a Miley Cyrus story.
I feel like the news has never recovered from 9/11. When people needed them the most to question everything.
Yeah, they dropped the ball.
They completely dropped, and they've never been able to get that trust back ever. Everyone was just like,
fuck it. We'll go to the internet.
Yeah.
There's plenty of websites and pages that are more strategic and refined. Well, that's why Vice is killing it.
Dude, Vice is killing everybody.
It's like they've kind of retooled the whole entertainment platform with real cool shit.
Yeah, enjoy it till
it doesn't cost a fortune.
No, it doesn't.
It's all guerrilla shit.
You can't go after sexy.
No.
You can't cater to sexy. You got to go after truth.
The crux of that whole movement is on a story. It's all about the story. And they know that if they throw any bubblegummy shit in there, audience is going to turn off because they've come specifically for a good story.
I completely 100% agree with it.
And the stories are outrageous, some of the things that they do. Like life-threatening investigations, crazy shit.
We were watching some news yesterday, and they were in the middle of telling story. Oh, two funny stories about that. They were doing something about the NSA. They were discussing the NSA on MSNBC, and they stopped that.
For our listeners at home that don't know what NSA is,
the NSA is the National Security Agency of the U.S. government, which has gotten in a lot of trouble because this Eric Snowden released all these documents that said that they were overreaching.
Oh no!
Their surveillance. They were surveying Americans, which most people wouldn't care about, meaning the politicians. But then the politicians found out that they were being monitored too, and they're all shady. So then they freaked out. So now there's a big movement, but they keep trying to suppress it. It's very funny. But they were discussing that. They broke from that to do a story about Justin Bieber getting arrested.
It's insane. It's really, really insane. I don't know how can you have an operation like a news station on that level. People must get hired and fired all the time from behind the cameras, because the talking heads, they've got them wired, so they're just there to do a specific thing and not really have any emotional attachment to what they're saying.
They're just meant to scream.
There must be people on set, camera, staff, or whatever, going, "What the fuck is going on? I got a real family, and like I'm a relatively normal person." And this is going. I'm shooting. I'm part of the problem.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
The problem is that they should have made television, the hour of TV that is dedicated to news. Like that was kind of the agreement. It was supposed to be like you will get these channels for free, or the government will give you these channels for free, but you have to dedicate X number of hours on that channel to news, to
education.
But where they messed up was they didn't say that that has to be commercial free.
Yes.
That's where they should have changed it.
Yes. So there's no the sponsors aren't leaning on the network to steer storylines and product, you know what I mean? They're pushers.
That big pharmaceutical commercials. Have you ever bought any kind of legalized drugs off a commercial you saw? Have you ever seen that? Have you ever bought any drug off of
I'm from Canada. We don't have really drug commercials.
Well, that's all they're here, dude. That's all there are. Every other commercial is
horrific.
A pill that will save everything. But I generally don't even think that's about really that advertisement. I think that's about these big pharmaceutical companies owning the message. So they buy enough of these ads, meaning most of them, that at some point, if you run a story they don't like, they'll threaten to pull all their advertising money.
Billions.
That's why when someone dies on Oxycontin or something like that, that doesn't come out till way later.
That is nasty. I think everybody knows somebody that's died of Oxycontin.
Yeah, I mean, like in L.A. especially, people just left and right died.
What a dirty, dirty, dirty one. That one gets you deep, real fast.
Yeah, the hillbilly heroin.
Oh man, it's just too good to be true. And then people who are not experiencing any kind of substance abuse with alcohol or whatever, and then they get given this thing out of the gate. You know what I mean? It's so overwhelming for them, and if they have any repressed addictions or anything like that, it just goes boom. You know, I had a buddy of mine. He owned a motorcycle dealership, Porsche, beautiful home, wife, kid, the whole thing, and it was all gone maybe within the year. His wife had left him, car, everything gone, lost his job.
Just think of all the arguments against marijuana and how dumb they are.
Anybody who has anything, just you don't have to even smoke it. Just come and spend a week or two in Los Angeles and just be around. It's fucking everyone's relaxed.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a lot of nervous energy because you got a lot of insecure people here. But if they weren't getting high, it would be a fucking squirrel cage down here.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
but just think of the arguments that you hear from the talking heads on why you should not legalize marijuana.
Retarded.
But yet, with a prescription, you can get Oxycontins. I mean, people bring up liquor. Forget even liquor.
Yeah.
You can get Oxycontins
synthetic
from
heroin.
Somebody of some sort of legal stature.
Yep.
It's legal.
And I've heard some people will get prescriptions from two different doctors. Because a friend of mine was doing that with.
Aren't they called script chasers?
He would say he would get a prescription filled and then go to another doctor and get the same prescription filled.
Florida, it's
and then
horrible.
Sell
dude.
half of them and then chew the rest.
There's something about like there's some sort of system that most cities and states have where all the pharmacies are intertwined. So they'll know if you get a prescription here,
yes,
you go get it.
But you got dodgy, shady doctors and stuff.
Right,
they're drug dealers.
Right.
So why
Florida, they don't have that.
Just because they're in a lab coat doesn't mean they're not a scumbag.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of people. What a great under-the-table cash grab by having a half a dozen people addicted to your pills and you're hooking them up. Knowingly. Destroying them.
Unbelievable.
It is, it's rude.
It's just crazy. It just lets you know. And I've had friends be like, I'd smoke weed if it was legal. Why do you need somebody telling you
Yeah, it's retarded.
what you should or should not be doing?
But were you ever like a big pot smoker? Like,
I
No.
never got really into weed ever.
No, I only up until recently. But I lived in Vancouver for 3 years. That was, it's like
If I
Listen.
functioned well on it, I would probably smoke weed.
I like eating it.
The way I operate, just my brain cannot move straight.
Yeah, you have a busy mind.
I-
You have to be occupied. The minute that you're lethargic, you start to get a little squirrely.
Yeah.
Like I can't function within this cloud over my head because I gotta fucking try and focus on the 10 other things I got going on at the same time.
Trying to survive,
Yeah.
dude. Trying to stay above water. That's all you got to do. Got to have a million things, million irons
Yeah.
in the fire, or else you're going to go crazy.
In this city, 20 years ago, it was you just did stand up.
Yeah.
And did it well. Now you've got to have your hand in all these other pots. And I feel like a 15-year-old girl with the social media and, this updates and this is going to be done like this and this. And it is a good platform, but at the same time, the amount of time that I've spent.
And you just don't know who's going to get a following, who's not.
Yeah.
You don't know why.
It's Wild West.
Who is this? Why does this chick have 1 million fucking followers?
I know. I see it. It's retarded. I like because I like posting stuff on my Instagram. And when I travel, it's kind of do like a little video blog or a photo blog. And then some girl will add me or I'll stumble across her profile. And she's got like 20,000 followers. And I'm looking through and she does nothing. Take pictures of her fucking shoes.
Yeah.
Attractive. You know what I mean?
There's something about a woman, the amount of followers a woman does should be divided
Yeah,
by
like
at
dog
least
ears.
1 or 2.
Dog ears or something.
100%. Because half of them are just want to beat off to those pictures.
It's sex appeal. Obviously, that's going to trump a lot of talent when the girl's so fuckable and gorgeous. Plus, the people create fantasies around it. I see some people in the comments, and they think they're in these relationships with these girls, and they don't even live in the same country. And the guy's 60, well, not 60, but, she's obviously a teenager, and these guys are old fucking weirdos.
And they're just...
Oh, you're gorgeous. And they just have all this petting, all this thing, how attractive they are. And it's just like, what a warped
I think
fucking thing.
At some point, women realized they didn't need a pimp, and they just started doing it for themselves. And then they're making bank.
Pussy Incorporated, buddy.
And and they're almost like the Hooters of like social media in the sense that they're selling sex, but they're conservative in their brain of how they're doing it. Do you know what I'm saying?
They have a very strict regimen of how they present it.
It's like Christian strip bar shit.
Yeah.
It's like you're going there for tatas, but she's so covered up, so in your weird head, it's not sinful. It's like these girls, they whore themselves, but they're not porn stars. Yet they hate porn stars.
Well, social media is so much a part of everybody's life, regardless, because people in show business, now everybody's got their own lifestyle magazine. What's your favorite, social media to work off of? One that you can.
I love Twitter.
You love Twitter. That's probably my least.
Why would you like Facebook? You like Instagram?
No, I like visual stuff. So like
I like Instagram.
I like it because I think I get to look at where I've been in a kind of a little chronological scrolling letter. I don't know why I'm moving my hand when we're holding microphones here. But
That's all right. You did for me. I like those because you can follow me, but I don't have to follow you, or vice versa.
Sure, you have a
which was
choice.
always the fatal flaw of Facebook and MySpace.
Yeah.
Which, I have my timeline is just polluted with baby pictures of people I don't even know who their parents are.
Oh, I put the settings differently. No one can post shit. They can comment on my stuff, but no one can post. I cleaned house. I'm just like, this is fucking.
I'm about to go through
nonsense.
just get rid of all comedians, and not because I don't like them. Like, obviously, friends like you I would keep,
Sure,
but
inner circle. Because
I
the
can't
media-
take being invited to open mics. You've taken this beautiful tool and just destroyed it with your diarrhea.
Yeah, it is an act of desperation. But when you're in a position where you've got a way to reach people and you've got nothing but fucking a twinkle in your eye, people are just dumping so much dog shit into it, and they don't really see
I
the
would
big
pull.
picture.
I go, dude. What are you doing with these 19 invites to an open mic?
Yeah.
Dude, I've been in the game for a while. You're ruining it. You're gonna dilute your product. Don't invite people to open mics, man. Why are you gonna do that? You want them to come see you when you got some skills.
Yeah. Or people that bring a bunch of their friends to the shows, and I see a third of the audience applauding aggressively before they've even said anything, just because they heard their best friend's name. And 99% of the time, they're fucking horrendous. And their friends are like, yeah, go Marjorie. And you're just like, what? You're creating delusions of grandeur here. This is not helping the scene at all.
Have you had to learn any rules to social media?
Have I had to learn any rules?
I've learned that you can't lay into idiots. You have to let them go. That was very hard for me because they could be very vicious.
Oh, they're consuming. They're bullshit. It's dead end. It's a
Right.
road to nowhere. It's.
But I treat them like hecklers. Where like, okay, I got to deal with this
Sure,
guy.
is a writing exercise, I would say for sure. But if you're taking it personally and you're generally taking up part of your day, then you're retarded. There's no end in that. You know, it's like responding to bathroom graffiti.
No, I agree with that.
It's garbage.
It took me a while to do that.
But I like it. You get worked up and you get a little manic on the fuck. Well, you know what? No, fuck you.
Yeah.
Beebo 73.4. It's
Yeah.
like, Sam, it's fucking Beebo 73.4. You're never going to meet this person. No, I will destroy him. First of all, it's a 15-year-old girl from Nebraska, and you've got death threats on her now.
Yeah, and the
What is
logic.
that?
Well, just when there's so much like I'll retweet some hate mail because I think it's hilarious.
You know those people, because of your disposition, that love you because they know that they can wind you up in a fucking drop of a hat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Because I listened to your show on Playboy, the Naughty Show, and that's on Playboy
thank
Radio.
you.
I've been down there a couple times, and it's always cool. You got a great crew of people down there. It's nice to see the mechanics of the shows come together over the last couple of years.
Oh, thank you.
And fuck, I forgot my point.
That maybe people let people get to me maybe.
Yeah, and it's funny for me.
Well, it is fun. I learned a
But
lot
don't let
to
it
let
ruin
go.
your life.
That at first I kind of get really like.
Well, you put your heart into what you do. That's
Yeah.
why you get a little fucked off, because you've poured your life into it, and people have no fucking idea on the sacrifice and the grind that especially in this fucking city of all places. This is the Bermuda Triangle of fucking retards, and trying to bring any ideas to light is like, it's like, you're the only healthy person in the Special Olympics. You know?
Yeah.
You feel like you're an alien in a way. I've had to kind of readjust myself on how I communicate with people, because I'm really much I say what I mean kind of person, and people do not know how to say no. They always like to keep their options open.
Yeah.
So that they got.
But they don't want it to come back and hurt them.
Yes. So
hey, dude, I want you to represent me. No. So you blow up. Then you just like, oh man.
yeah, I burned that
He
bridge.
hates me.
No,
Yeah.
I appreciate the audience.
I-
Fucking say I can take it, man.
Yeah, I
can take
love
it.
honesty when people are like, I can't do anything for you. I'm like, thank you, dude.
Yeah.
That's some honest shit. I really do appreciate that.
There's nothing worse than getting caught up in these roads to nowhere, and it's unfortunate. I've run into it a couple times where I've kind of misread people and found myself in a weird situation where I was like, am I fucking retarded? Like, am I not communicating my ideas? Because this is insane. The other end of it is
Yeah,
retarded.
comedy's such an interesting thing. Comedy is such an interesting. The way who does what, who does everything, it could drive you crazy because there's no real rules. There's no A to B to C to D. It's like A to number 4.
We don't have an insurance package, or we're comedians like on a drift, on a raft in show business.
Now let me ask you: since you've been out here for a while, has your perception of Los Angeles and the comedy scene changed at all?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of weak people.
Right.
In
There's
general, comedians and personalities. A lot of weak people.
In terms of
Skill and values.
I would go with values for sure. I think there's a lot of really good comics.
Far and few between. That there's so much below average, and then you'll see some people. But I already know who those guys are anyway. I haven't been surprised really by anybody that I haven't known.
Oh, interesting. There was a time when I moved to LA. Every week, a new gunslinger came to town.
And just crushed. And
You're like, who is this dude? Now you got to up your game.
yeah, I want to. That's the thing, coming from the London or the UK comedy scene to Los Angeles is like, I watch, and I use the comparison because I do think it is the best place, it's the best city in the world for comedy is London, and so I got to work with a lot of fucking professional, original, killers from all over the globe very international show. You're on a bill, and everybody's a headliner. But you're only doing 20, 30 minutes at a time. But this guy could have fucking 10 TV shows in front of you, and he's a legend, and you're an unknown, but it's anybody's name. They don't have the judgmentalness of like some of the clubs here, most of the clubs here in Hollywood, they do a check on you. Where do I know him from? Have I seen him on TV?
Yes.
What? How much am I going to invest in this person?
That is
by
the
how
biggest
popular
problem.
It is? Where in the UK,
That's how the Comedy Store's changed.
you could have a guy that's a hit on a hit TV show and a nobody who's got proper skills, and the audience embrace them as one. You know what I mean?
I do find that is an issue, man.
And here-
they coddle the weak out here.
But because they have other assets, like maybe they're attractive and mediocre as a talent, but they think they maybe give them a job as a host just because.
Yeah. TV credits rule. When there's 9,000 television channels, it just gets really crazy, right? I mean, it's like so interesting. When I moved here, it was very hard to break in. There wasn't a lot of channels, and there wasn't a lot of channels giving young comedians opportunities. And the generation before us wasn't ready to give it up and let the new generation in. So they were holding on. So nobody was moving anywhere. And and
that happened in Canada too. There was a lot of purgatory for a lot of guys who didn't make the jump to the U.S. That's why a lot of Canadians had to move to England because they weren't really eligible for anything. And England was calling. The guys were.
I'd
coming
love
back.
to go to England and gig. I just feel like I'd look at the dumbest. They'd be like, "Look at dumb American."
No, it's not. If you separated yourself by acknowledging that on stage, then they're going, okay, then it's us against you. But if you said, you know what, it's fucking cool to be here. You guys are great.
I do love the British, too.
Oh, man.
I love everything about the British.
I love it when they come to comedy clubs in North America and they're asked to buy a 2-drink minimum. They laugh. They're half pissed on the way in the club.
Oh, 100%.
2 drinks at a comedy show? I've seen the trays of booze, liquored, laughing. I've seen people throwing up, hammered, just having a fucking blast.
What about Australia? They're not allowed to charge 2 drinks.
Oh, really? I haven't been. But
You haven't been to
I've heard-
Australia? It's a great. I
I've
went
heard
back there a
nothing.
couple years. I'd love to go back.
I've heard very good things about Auckland and New Zealand Comedy Festival and Melbourne Festival.
I need to get more active in those.
Yeah, but you got a lot on your plate here. It's probably hard for you to leave and relax.
Can I tell you? I've never been on a vacation in my life.
I went once.
I've never had a 7 days off to do nothing.
Then the thing that I like, I've only taken a vacation to kind of save a relationship that I was in, but that all went in the shitter. But I find that when I get a chance to go to like South Africa or a comedy festival in a foreign country, they put you up in a nice hotel. You're doing what you got money coming in. You're with some of your friends and you're meeting some new people. It tends to be a bit of more of a vacation because you got on a flight, sunny out, and the theater's full, and there's none of the pressures on you. As long as you bring your A game. And then you have a bit of a holiday. You go off during the day, or you get a couple of days off during the festival. Go fucking canoeing by yourself.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
That helps a lot.
Traveling, doing the road is interesting for me because I've never wanted to be a road dog. A lot of people love the road dog.
I dig it.
I do, and I
But I'm
don't at
tired.
the same time. If I can play the right rooms, I enjoy that. And I've created a little market for myself where I can go and maybe start doing these. That's really the whole goal has always been just to do my own nights.
Yeah.
To make a couple G, 1G, 2G in one night, doing a rock club.
You want to be the Russell Simmons of stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I've been called the Vince McMahon of stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I can see that.
I put on these huge events.
Yeah,
I overthink everything.
You don't do shows, Sam. You do spectacles.
That's what I love to do.
You do spectacles. You bring in, okay, this is crazy, this is crazy, this crazy. Let's tie it all together and see what happens.
I love it.
And it's fucking great.
I love debauchery.
I expected to be more of that consistently. I didn't expect that you were the only one because realistically, you're the only one that are doing these kind of events in the city. And Hollywood's so progressive and different, but nobody wants to go and take risks. They're very safe.
I think it's
full of,
here's the thing about Hollywood, about anywhere. When you get
first, we love it here though. First, I know we're taking a lot of the piss out of.
I love LA.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, I could have moved 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I love everything here. My life is here.
It is
my
a
bitches
weird.
are here. My fucking the Comedy Store is as crazy as that is, like it's just a fucking insane asylum.
Yeah,
and I
free
love
range.
the chaos of it.
Yeah, I love. I think we're both fans of chaos.
I love chaos.
I love when things are completely out of hand.
Which
and
is
mental.
what is the opposite of this town.
Yeah.
Which is
It's
whatever
become
chaos
soft.
is, they want the exact opposite, which is extremely sterile environments in which the vibe of the room is a doctor's office.
Well, I think the Sunset Strip is like an artery for what's going on in this city as far as how much buzz is going on. And in 2001, when I come out here, there was traffic on every weekend. People stumbling around the side. It was fucking Mardi Gras.
Do you know what happened?
No.
When the
I was horrified. And I even went down to Melrose. I was like, where is everybody?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Melrose never recovered from 9/11. I think it's a true story. That place used to be like this parade of these eclectic characters.
Weirdos, yeah.
It was so I lived down the block. I would just go grab coffee, and for about 3 hours I would just watch the parade go by. And then 9/11 happened, and it never recovered. Never. It's never been back like that. I don't know where it went.
That's so odd.
Now, Sunset went nuts when the Lakers went on this big run with the Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, and they won all these championships in the early 2000s. Sunset got really crazy to the point
Like
people were
riots?
getting shot.
What?
People were getting shot at the House of Blues. People were getting shot at nights clubs. It was getting really crazy. Then it became a
It was
police
chaotic.
state.
Yeah.
It became a I mean, there were huge police presence everywhere, like
Horse cops and
lines of cops
Every weekend?
Oh yeah, and that's why it's all moved down to Hollywood, and then eventually it just keeps moving around.
yeah, it's trying to show it's trying to get supremacy in the city, but there's a lot of people trying to push it down.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But this is, if you don't like it, then move somewhere else. There's a whole world.
a whole world
Get
out
the
there.
fuck out of here.
Three-
Let the fucking clown town here make it happen. You know.
I love the clown. I'm the Joker. I love the clown town. I love the clown town.
Clown town is fun.
You know why LA is so great and it keeps you young? It is because you're always one day away from living your dreams. You're one meeting away from meeting
Yeah.
that person that gets your vibe. You're one audition away from
Yeah.
getting the show that gets it all going. You know, I mean, like, to see the people have blown up around me is amazing. I
Yeah.
could not be happier. I mean, at some point there was nobody blowing up.
Yes, there was here. That's why I was going back and forth so much, because I really didn't see anything really moving. Everyone was kind of nervous and waiting to see what was going to happen.
They didn't know what to do. It was so controlled, and like comedians had kind of falling out of favor because they were so crazy.
Yeah, they didn't want any social unrest because
You know,
there was
like
too much going on. And
Sam Kennison just showing up on drugs and all that. It just like
Yeah.
it just swung and missed, and then they went the other way.
Yeah.
And up
Now,
until about 2 or 3 years ago,
A beard and glasses now. It
Yeah.
seems to be the uniform of the new comedian.
well, I've always said, man, in LA you can't tell the industry from the comics anymore. They just look the same.
Yeah, I know. They all look like librarians that work on the weekends at a lumber yard.
Yeah, they look like lumberjack accountants.
yeah.
Like, I need receipts for your axes, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A beaver pelt over one shoulder. It's a horrible costume. I'm not one to talk. You know, I've been scolded about my appearance, but I don't care. And
But it fits you.
But it works for me, and if people can embrace it or not, I don't really give a fuck. But when you see this kind of Russian doll, they're just different sizes with the same.
And they all it's so interesting, dude. It's just so interesting. There's no rhyme or reason on it, too, which is kind of crazy. But with the beauty of the internet, which I love, even though it becomes oversaturated, is like if you hustle, you can get a following going. If you get out of your own way, play ball with other people, be nice, you can get a following going.
Yeah, it is leveled the playing field, and it does. You know, people get to have more options as far as things that they check out and become fans of.
And big podcasts. The big reason podcasts have become so big is because a lot of guys find it really hard to get on television like they used to. I mean, we go through these weird kind of things in comedy where it's like, this is what's in now, not
Trends.
it used to be nerd comedy for like 5 years. Now it's female comedy.
Yeah.
And that's what's really big right now, and that's what's going on television every 2 seconds. And yay for them. It's good for them. But it's like
I'll wait quietly in the darkness for the sun to pass.
Who was I talking to the other day? Someone I was talking to. We were talking about. It's like, yeah, we'll wait. We just hope that we don't get too old.
Oh, I think it was me and you actually on the phone.
Yeah. It was you. Like, we hope that we
get to see some of the fruits of our labor
when it comes back around.
Yeah.
That we're okay with still being like, in with it.
I don't want people watching our YouTube videos and go, "Oh man, yeah, this guy, he back in the day, oh, he was so good. Yeah, what happened? Oh, he hung himself in a garage."
Yeah,
he's
he's so ahead of
genius.
time.
He's a fucking genius.
Too bad he couldn't get
A
ahead of that
pioneer.
bullet that went through his head.
This whole racket can be very apocalyptic very quickly.
What I really enjoy, though, and I love comics and I love young comics, is that nobody's changing the game so much that, that I feel like I'll become obsolete. Meaning, it's like sometimes in music it changes so hard with what's in.
Glam rock to Nirvana, and so on. Yeah.
And then if you don't do what's in, you're effed.
Yeah.
But the lucky thing about comedy is, like, as long as you can get that laugh, it almost gets like comedy gets like simpler and simpler as time goes on.
Well, you start to learn the skills and the mechanics of it.
The paradigms, like the simple paradigms. It's like, my wife sucks. She's driving me crazy. She's spending all my money. You learn those things. People just laugh at them.
Yes. There's some consistency.
Very simple premises do very well. And, I've talked to other people that there's people go around, acting like they're Led Zeppelin. They're really Nickelback.
Yeah, I know.
But they really think they're Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
They think they're rock stars.
No, go read The Dirt by Motley Crue.
Oh, yeah, dude. Is there anything better than that?
It's like, oh, okay, that's how that can go. And they're all still alive, even though some of them have died on occasion. But what a fucking story. Yeah, where's the story? That's what I mean. None of these, when I see a lot of these performers, I have really no interest in them out.
The worst is when you know somebody's act before they walk up on stage. That's what drives me crazy.
Yeah, because it's on their sleeve.
Like they just fit, it's like it's so much of a stereotype. They just play into that stereotype. And
they fabricated a character that they can kind of function with.
That fits in that. Like Dana and I one time Dana was with me one week when I worked with a guy who was very super well spoken off stage.
And it played up.
But when he went on stage, just straight out of Compton, like just putting on this. Man, what up with these bitches, man?
Yeah.
And you're like, who is this guy we just saw on stage? That was the guy we were talking.
What's happened there is he's seen somebody either in conversation or on stage, and is adopted something to stand behind.
Well, and over time he realizes like there are paradigms that work. And white people think black people are funny. It's just I always said, how hard it is to be black and not funny? It's almost a unicorn.
Yeah.
I've seen 2 in my years of doing comedy.
Unicorns?
Two black guys who could not get laughs. It's unheard of, dude.
Yeah, I don't know these guys.
Like, I've seen black comics go up. There's been 5 black comics on the show, and their opening line is, "It's time for the black portion of the show." That's been the whole show.
Yeah.
But people still laugh at it.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe it's out of guilt.
What I have learned, though? People do appreciate when you go for it. When you take them on a journey that has some honesty on it. And now there's got to be punchlines on it, but when I've been telling stories lately
when you've got an emotional investment in what you're saying, you have to have some commitment. And I say a lot of terrible things, but in the moment, I believe them.
Yes.
So the audience sees that too. They're like, "Holy fuck! Wait a minute. No, we're at a comedy show. We're fine." And the smart people who get it, but they appreciate
when you take them on a journey of honesty.
Yeah. And
maybe a story isn't get the explosion laughs that a setup punch might get, but in the long run, they just appreciate that the execution and the storytelling carries so much more credibility
Yeah,
over
it's,
time.
It's craftsmanship.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I've started to
crafted.
get into that.
It's very difficult, when you're looking at your joy, your muse with a magnifying glass over top of it, and looking for cracks, like you're trying to look at a diamond for flaws. It's a very lonely, fucking hard process to really pan through your own bullshit and get the results that you want.
Working on new jokes are so hard at our level because we have two things we're going on with. Like,
I have crazy writer's block, like terrible.
I do too.
Off and on for years. It's paralyzing.
I do too. That's why a big reason I got sober was because
Was that because of the tour that we were on?
No.
I like to
It's
think
more
so.
about just like I used to crank material out. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to crank it,
Yeah.
and now I haven't cranked.
Well, your head was clear before.
Now it's back to that. And it's coming slowly. You know,
You look healthy.
Thank you. I've also learned that not everything has to be a closer bit. Like I used to want to do a whole set of closers, and I've learned that something can just be simple and fun and almost a throwaway.
Sure.
And the master of that was George Carlin. If you listen to him, he'll do some very deep premises followed by a fart joke.
Yeah. He'll have a food for thought on a journey to something that's poo pee pee.
Yeah.
So you're worth the investment. He gave you something to carry through, and then you got me like a dirty old bastard.
Man.
It's fun.
You know, I really try to limit myself on the amount of poop jokes that I write in
Yeah.
acts, but they love them.
People always try and tell me I got enough shit, blood, and cum and death. I'm trying to broaden it a little while, but I always tend to
I am too, man.
paint in those colors. But I like explosive. I like screaming and laughter all at the same time.
I love putting on a show that people can't get from their friends at the office.
Yes.
I always just
A
want it to be.
spectacle.
Yeah, I just want it to be an event. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to be an event. Everything I've ever tried to do is an event. I try to give them their money's worth.
I think you were probably worked in a 3-ring circus in a previous life as a ringleader.
I just love to go big with it, you know?
What's your worst? Because how many naughty shows do you have under your belt now? By the
Look
way,
behind you.
unfortunately, I couldn't make it. Oh man, that's great.
Yeah, and that's not. We have a bunch of new ones put up.
Sam's got a series. Well,
Okay, let's not go on all the bands up there. Data made their videos.
What?
Hey, 98 bills, 98
got-
degrees paid the bills.
I get it. I'm just confused. You have 98 Degrees Records, like the gold record.
She made videos for them.
That's cool. I'm
she
sure they're
has-
very nice guys. I don't know them, but you got a whole bunch of naughty shows. What do we got? How many do we got there? Do you know off the top of your head?
How many naughty shows do you think we've done?
30?
But that's not even all of them, though.
The posters look great, by the way. Whoever's doing the artwork.
Yeah, we've had a couple
they're
people over
consistent.
the years do them, and they get better and better, and you know
So maybe about 30, 40 naughty shows.
more, probably
More.
like 50.
So what's comparable to the first one to the most recent one? Well, the last one was at the Adult Video Awards. Porn
Yes.
Awards in Vegas.
It was great.
Was it at the same club from the year before?
Yep,
That was great.
we did that club now 3 times within a year.
Perfect room. I don't know why you don't have a residency there at least once a month.
You know, I don't either, and it's kind of sad. You know, but
Your
that
show is a Vegas show.
Well-
You've taken all the lunatics from Hollywood and you bring them to the fucking pedestal.
and the reason they like doing it because when comics think of a comedy show of going to Vegas,
Yeah.
this is what they
Holy shit.
One thing there's a great show in LA called Beecher's Madhouse ran
I
by
went there.
Jeff
It's
Beechers.
insane. They
Jeff
just moved to
Beecher is one of
Vegas.
the whatever I am, he's right there, if not next level. He's been able to get the resources to make it happen because
Yeah.
he's a great PR and marketing guy and a great entertainer. And you know, I used to do his shows back in the day, and they were fun, dude. Because not only did you have fun on stage, even though it was a hell gig, he just made it fun to be there. And what you dreamed of Vegas
Yeah.
being,
He created atmosphere.
right?
Atmosphere. And so when people, as soon as they come through the door, the show's already happening. Even though there's nothing on stage, people look around going, whoa,
Yeah,
what the
there's
fuck is
dancing
that?
people.
That's cool. Who's that? Oh, that's so-and-so. Wow.
I wonder
And
what
then
his
the lights
budget
come down.
is for that show. I just wonder what it must
I would say about 20 grand.
Unbelievable. And it's great. And he's earned it, dude. He's a
Got
bit of
midgets on chains pouring booze. Yeah, if you haven't checked it out, it was at the basement of the Roosevelt for years.
No. Actually, it started in New York City. He blew that up. Then he came to Vegas, and he got at the Hard Rock right when the Mortons were kind of like getting into their groove, and it was this
Who's
amazing.
the Mortons?
The Mortons own Morton Steakhouses, and they owned the Hard Rock in Las Vegas, the casino. They built it up, and they were just great because they were kind of old school. The Mortons ran the Hard Rock the way the mob used to run the Vegas, and that sounds like bad, but if you really know it, they were kings of loss leaders, meaning they would bring a mega band in knowing they were going to lose 20, 30 grand on them performing there, but they knew they'd make that all up tenfold on the casinos, which you which you don't see anymore.
No, because there's no investment in it's art has become so disposable that it's just like whatever. You know, people they're not really they're not.
But the
producing
corporations, I mean, when you get to a point where like it's really sad when people say the mob ran music in Vegas better than corporations do. You know, corporations they don't understand the notion of a loss leader. They don't understand, like, sell somebody a taco or a beer for $2 and they'll spend $30 on the table.
Yes.
That doesn't, they're like, no, we got to sell these beers for $10.
Yeah.
Because we bought them for 50
There's no
cents.
risk. They're not willing to take a risk to pay to play.
Which was how it used to be.
Yeah.
And,
it was big risk for big stakes.
Yeah, man.
But the returns were, legendary.
People people want to spend their money on gambling. They don't want to they want to drink for free, and they want to spend all their money on the tables. And they were really good at knowing that.
That's why the movie The Hangover was so successful. Because that's the Vegas trip that everybody, I think, envisions. Minus jail and stuff. But, like, come back, we almost died. That was awesome.
Well, I've said that Vegas's big problem right now is pretty much everything that used to make Nevada special is legal everywhere. You could do all that anywhere. Like, we were just down in Pechanga by San Diego. That was one of the most gorgeous casinos I've ever been in. So if you live near Pechanga, why do you got to go to Vegas?
Yeah.
So Vegas should legalize everything just below heroin.
Well, that's what's happened is in I think a lot of, especially in cities in Canada, is these city center with the shopping mall and the police station, but then all these shopping malls opened up in the suburbs and pulled everything out of the city center. So it washed it all out, and it wasn't an event anymore because they could get a little bit of everything just on the outside, but there was no investment. There wasn't like, we're going to the weekend to just fucking blow this out.
Well, it's why people say, it's like you're told that your car and fossil fuels are destroying the planet, yet people still keep getting bigger and bigger cars.
Yeah.
You see these soccer moms, they have a 2-year-old, but they got
a
tank.
fucking
tank to drive that child around.
$100 a day in gas.
Yeah.
And just
couldn't care less.
Driving a fucking small home around.
Yeah.
It's retarded.
These tiny 5'4" women driving these double-decker limousine buses, carting around that one kid.
That's one thing I know. The amount of excess and waste that I see in this city is outrageous.
But nobody's gonna do anything because it's all about getting yours.
Yeah.
There's no community.
It's very dog. Yeah.
And
that's been a big adjustment for me. Is the lack of community here. Is
100%. It's a big problem in the United States.
Yeah, and I think, and also even in the comedy community here, there's just not a lot of genuine people.
Well, I would disagree with that. I think that certain scenes have camaraderie, such as the alt scene. They very much like to take care of each other. The Hispanic scene, they all work together. I think our genre, dark and dirty, we tend to be Boba Fett's. We tend to be lone assassins who want to walk by ourselves.
Yeah.
And the whole point of the Naughty Show was always to bring all those people together.
Yeah, the nomads.
But they never want to work together. They're lone wolves.
Yeah.
And that
makes sense.
So they get a little piece. They don't realize if they take care of a bunch of people, everybody grows together. Groups rise.
Yeah.
It's always been the group rise. Individuals very rarely rise. Groups rise together. And that's really what the Naughty Show is about.
There's a lot of nervous bitches. Kind of what am I going to lose? What am I going to gain? Rather than make a commitment, investment in people.
I put people in the Naughty Show hoping that night they perform so well they steal the thunder of the show.
Yeah.
I love that shit. Blow everybody out of the water. Steal the show. That's why I've always dreamed it. But you don't see that anywhere else.
Well, we're going to see it this year.
Are you making it a law? As mayor of Comedy Town, I declare everybody shall be able to steal shows. Now stop with all these Negroes hitting on these white women. Back to you.
What? Where are you? Are you doing shows out of the state at all, or? I know you got a lot on your plate here with the radio show and doing the live stuff.
I am doing March 18th. I'm at Portland at the Funhouse Lounge doing my own night. That's cool. Then the following night, I'm in Seattle at the Highline Bar doing my own night again. And then I go to the Hecklers right after that in Vancouver.
It's Vancouver Island.
Vancouver Island.
In Victoria.
Wherever I am, I shall be there.
I will not be there. I'm banned from that club.
Why? What happened?
I don't know. I really don't know. I had a great show.
I get banned for. I feel like you get official bans, and I get like unofficial bans.
I get a lot of bullshit. It just takes one vocal person. I could have a standing ovation, and then some fucking retard that shouldn't have been there was dragged by their friends and didn't do any research. You know, I look at comedy as like if you're going to a restaurant, you kind of look at the menu before you fucking order.
Yeah, if there's 150 people in the room and I walk 3, what is the issue?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the issue? If the other 147 are having the best time of their life, you know, I don't know why people. I just did a show recently and I walked into the room and I mean the room is just flatlining. Just flatlining. The owner comes up to me and goes, "Oh, man, they're really, really, really quiet town. I'm really quiet crowd, low energy. I don't know what's wrong with them."
There's people there, though.
Yeah, it is pretty full.
50, 60 people?
Over that. I'd say like 100 and something.
Okay.
But it's
so there's a proper audience.
Proper audience.
Nothing's popping.
Nobody's popping. The first 2 guys go out. And this is not an indictment on them because they were both really nice people. But this is an example of what we're dealing with. So the owner goes up before me. And he goes on to introduce me, and he basically
shits the bed,
chastises the crowd on being low energy and not laughing at anything.
He scolded them.
Scolds them.
And then, here's another asshole.
Yeah, here's next up to death. Here's the next one on the firing line. So I go up there, and I flamethrow the room. I just get them going. Yeah. Because I've had a million times where I've had to file death, destruction, and sadness, and I got to get, blood from a stone.
Yeah.
So I get them going. There's applause breaks everywhere. Everybody's laughing, having a good time. I get done my set. I go into the green room. The opener runs in, goes, "That's how you do it, dude. That's how you get a crowd going. That's how you do comedy. That's a real comedian." Just
Who said this? Somebody? A comedian?
The opener of the show.
To you?
To me. Right? Because the room was just death. And I just want Jesus Christ and resurrected dead people.
Yeah.
The owner comes in. He's like, "I don't know, man. These people out there say I always book dirty comics." No, I don't. Once in a while, chastise.
Yeah. He's downplaying it on his end, so he can feel better about how shitty he was.
And it's
He's
just
cut your grass.
such an interesting.
That's
thought.
a weak move. It's a weak move. That's what weak people do.
And it's just
because he couldn't swallow it and say, "I fucking suck," and thanks for turning the night around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's such a fucking...
So they were angry I got dirty, but people were laughing compared to clean, and just people staring at people like they're kickboxing pregnant women. I mean, what are we doing here?
It's mind-numbing because it's not helping the scene at all by limiting it. This is supposed to be a freedom to express yourself, and I understand they're running a business and stuff, but you got to kind of check it before you start making these calls about these dirty comedians or stuff like that. No, I have people, one person crying, yelling at me, and another person asking me to get a picture and an autograph.
100%.
In the same moment. It's fucking retarded.
Dana, the last show I did, the Sunday, I did a show there. I got off stage. I just didn't even want to be there at that point. Yeah. I get off stage. I'm about to leave. This woman comes up to me and goes, "You were much better tonight," which was my least favorite night to do. "You were much better tonight." I'm like, "Okay, thank you." She's like, "Yeah, you were way better than the other show at 7 yesterday we came to." I'm like, "You didn't You didn't enjoy the 7 o'clock? No, we did not enjoy that. My sister did not enjoy you making fun of special people. But this woman didn't enjoy her time, yet she came back to the next night.
It's retarded. You can't even communicate with those people because the nonsense that you're.
And I kept trying to leave. I go, thank you, ma'am. I got to go. No, you were much better. You were much better tonight. It took me 3 minutes to get out of there from her. I
just walk away. That's why I kind of put out the thing that I do to people who don't know me because it keeps a lot of the fuckheads at bay. I really, and yeah.
More that comedy is so interesting because people can like genres, many genres of music. You know what I'm saying? You could like rockabilly, country, metal, hip hop, you name it, love all of it. But with comedy, you can only like, it's just people have a very specific thing they want. And if you don't fit into that, they get angry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, they have. I think people like to create a fantasy behind the performer and think that because a lot of the comics on stage and off stage, they carry very different personalities.
100%.
And people buy into the fantasy of the performer. You know, and when it at its best. But I can't function like that all the time. Like you can't be like that. And when they don't see that, but you get it too because we love chaos and it comes out in our performance. You get a lot of people that want to take you. And show you how crazy they are. You know what I mean? And I'm just over it. And, yeah, I'll just hide.
Yeah. Sometimes I do hide.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I always tell my feature? Get ready to sell more CDs you've ever sold in your life.
Yeah.
People love to be like, I'm going to buy your CD. You were the best.
Oh, fuck.
White women over 30 love to anoint who won the show.
Yeah, I know. Like a approved parent.
Yeah. You were the best.
Well, thanks. Can you put my name on the fridge, Grandma? Go fuck yourself.
Like there's some kind of competition.
Yeah, when I write material, I really want this demographic.
I hope I get gold with this joke.
I have a horrible, my demographic, 18 to 35-year-old males. I had looked at my social media has some of the settings. You can look at gender and age group. I was horrified. It's very much for dudes what I do. Not a lot, and then some like creepy bitches like it.
But you know that. Are you talking about this show right here?
No. I mean like any of my performances on YouTube or Facebook and things like that.
Yeah, man. Have you seen what girls like?
Yeah, I know. Justin Bieber's doing great.
Well, you know, it's like the whole thing from the Motley Crue book, or was it Guns N' Roses? I forget one of that. You know, it was universally known that Poison was the worst band, but they had the hottest groupies.
Oh, yeah.
And Dana's going to get pissed. Sounds like you hate women. But women, because for women entertainment.
Do your impression of her again?
Oh, my God. Sounds like you hate women. But because for women, almost the last thing is
One more time.
Oh, my God. Seems like you just hate women. The last thing almost that comes into account is how entertaining you are. Mm. It's almost like, you know, are you cute? Are you offending people?
Yeah, if you're non-threatening as a performer.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pussy footing around.
They love vampires that eat and drink blood, but they hate a little edge in their comedy because he might be offended. Such an interesting thing.
That's a good kind of thing of what's kind of current is remember, and it's been brought up numerous times, but as far as like these horror movies, werewolves and vampires, it's all lame now. Like it's lame. They took these iconic, murderous, demonic characters. And
I just want to watch I Frankenstein. It was like
it's terrible.
Frankenstein.
It was terrible. I know.
No, but it was terrible for knowing you were going to terrible.
Yes, but it was worse than that. Like I knew it was fucking. I thought it was going to be like The Matrix and Frankenstein here, but it was so terrible.
I thought it was going to be like Underworld, where it's this movie's going to be bad, but it could be slick and fun to watch.
Yes, and Underworld was fantastic like that. I went in with like girl vampire. I'm like whatever, and then I watched it and I'm like fuck, this is really the way the cinematography,
the way it was shot.
Yeah, and she was cute, and you bought into it that she could fuck some shit up.
This was the plot was dog shit. Ugh. And it's just like the thought of making Frankenstein sexy is like this idiocracy
They may as well just got like Matthew McConaughey to play.
They might as well just get gay porn stars to just
yeah.
fist each other in every movie, because that's where we're going.
In
That's where we're going.
Insult to injury, I went to the beautiful Man's Chinese Theater and saw it there. So you got state of the art. It was IMAX 3D.
Awesome.
And
Best place in the world to see a movie is Man's Chinese.
On Hollywood there and Boulevard. And I'm watching it, and there's about 15 other people in this gorgeous theater, sound, lights, fucking IMAX 3D. And I'm watching diarrhea just come out of the screen in my face.
It should not be allowed to be in that theater.
Well, what kind of movies do you watch? Do you have a favorite?
I mean, I love anything. I love the Fight Clubs, Matrix. I love like gritty stuff. I love old school movies. I feel like the 70s were like
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
all that stuff, because it was so much about script and so little of it was about special effects.
Yeah, it was a manly man shit.
You know, the 70s movies, if they came out today, they'd all be indie flicks. They'd have to play theaters where it's like them and like, gay love stories, which is all the Lamley stories. It's like, he's got AIDS, but he didn't give up on life. It's about him trying to find somebody to love him, He's got AIDS, but he needs a soulmate or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's a dating show for guys with AIDS.
Yeah, so yeah, man, that's what I like. I love anything Quentin Tarantino does. I think he's amazing.
Spectacles.
I just love I love risk taking.
Yeah.
Because when it pays off, it's gorgeous.
Oh,
I like to get moved by that. I want to pay money to see somebody who does it better than I can do it.
Yeah. You want to be wowed. Life is short, and to be around and see performances that just kind of put yourself into check. I love being blown away.
I refuse to support mediocrity. That's a famous Mitzi Shore quote. It's like the worst thing you do out there is support mediocrity.
Yeah. Again, I hate going back to, but the British scene, they didn't tolerate it. If you were shit or you were off point, they let you know. Even if you were doing, I've been heckled doing well. You know what I mean? Just to see what you're made out of. Oh, you're having a good time? Well, we're going to throw some broken glass under your feet and see how you run on that. And then you get over that hurdle, and then this guy's a fucking legend, Come over here and fuck my wife, It's
the only time I've ever had a bad time with a heckler was I was in Australia. Do you want more coffee?
No, I'm good.
I was in Australia. I played this Gold Coast.
One more impression of her again.
Sounds like you hate women. Oh, let me. I'm not doing a show right now. I can take a little time. Check my my thing. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. I was in the Gold Coast, and it was my first time playing in Australia. And I just did this joke. The guy driving up to me is like, they love filthy, dude. Just get filthy on stage.
Yeah.
Fucking filthy. I'm like, okay. And then he proceeds to tell me I likes to watch like people dying on the internet. I'm like, I should have taken that as a clue.
Yeah.
This guy's a little off. I went up there, and I started out 10 minutes in filthy. And just...
Did they buy in it? Or?
No. Wrong hole right out the gate.
Yeah.
And it was just I couldn't get them back. And then I just started talking crowd, and it became very quickly Australia versus America.
Yeah. They can do that. Sometimes all of a sudden you irk them, and then they just draw a line, and they're like, then it's us against you.
Yep.
But I've seen a couple comedians find the asshole, out of the group. So it becomes us against them, and then you start communicating with the audience and chipping away, and then it's this guy, and then the audience goes, you know what? He's not that fuck. He's come here to perform, and you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You get the fuck out.
Dude, that's master shit.
Yeah.
Why am I? You hate women. Put a little black into that.
It's been almost an hour.
How long are your podcasts usually?
About an hour.
I think hour's good. Some people do 2 hours.
I'm not that interesting.
I just think it's too much.
Yeah, if you've got already a good following out of the gate, and they're really buying into you as a personality, then you can kind of stretch in that medium. But I
feel like an hour is a perfect amount of time.
Yeah,
it's like almost like a comedy show. Once you get around 70 minutes, people start getting antsy, except if it's like a headliner show where they've come to see the guy.
A 90-minute show.
The comedy really starts when the headliner gets. I mean, the show starts when the headliner walks on stage.
Yeah, there's a show, and then there's the event aspect of it, the finale of the thing.
You know, Jason, I think you're so fucking funny. I just think that if you stay in the pocket, things will go very well for you. You know, you have your own unique thing, and therefore, most likely, you're gonna have to make it happen for yourself.
Yes,
and that maybe the Tonight shows and all that stuff, and a guest spot on Community isn't naturally your road. But I think your road is doing all these gigs. Somehow somebody sees you, and now you got kind of a reoccurring role on Sons of Anarchy or some shit based on your look. And the point of that is, like, just stay in the pocket. You know, don't start comparing what you've got going on in this town to what some other people are doing because they're probably pandering.
Yes.
And that was never going to be your thing. You may be a gazillionaire in this, but you may not be a gazillionaire, but you will work, you will do what you want to do, and you will be happy doing it. I've seen people get it, and they're fucking miserable. They're miserable people because what they got isn't what they wanted. What they got is what they took the first fucking exit off the road and grabbed that first gig. Next thing you know, they're hosting Blues Clues or some shit like that.
Yeah. No, I've drawn a very distinct line that you know me as a person and as a performer. So that is, I've cut myself off from a lot of opportunities, you know, but they were all things that I didn't want to do anyway.
Right.
You know, stylistically and the way I present myself is it's an acquired taste, to say the least. But I've traveled and I've been in the game long enough to know when I apply it and I do the work.
Just keep
magical.
putting out content.
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm working on right now. I got my new CD about to come out. I'm putting together a whole CD of me murdering hecklers. I'm going to put that out very soon.
Where can people find all your stuff? Because I know you have Naughty Show. Is it thenaughtyshow.com?
Well, there's naughtyshow.net, there's samtripoli.com, and punchdrunksports.com. Those are my three babies.
Okay.
And I also have a new show that I just produced. I'm not in it. It's called Comedy Rap Battles. I love brands. I love creating brands. And I think that's...
Spectacles.
Yeah, events.
You're a spectacle creator.
I'm all about that.
You take all the fucking outcasts, you know, the lepers of show business, and you coddle them and put them in a basket, and everyone gets to lick.
And they have a great time.
It's always a fun time, and thanks for being on the show, Sam.
Anytime, all the time.
Fantastic.
Safe word! Safe word! Safe word! Safe word!
Don't kiss me on the mouth. Don't ask if you're hurting me. And if you hear the safe word, stop what you're doing immediately. Do you have pantyhose?